front of me, I have a welding table, exoskeleton, whatever you want to call it, that I've started already making. And I want to give you guys a breakdown of what's been going on. Basically, the table that I had before this was very small. It was a makeshift table. You could see it in one of my videos. It was good. It served a purpose for the time being. But at the same time, I didn't like working on the area size of it because it was just too small. I needed to get something much bigger for my shop, something I could roll around, and I can move from welder to welder while I'm doing projects. So a while back, I acquired this frame. A good friend of mine who's got a construction company, he had this caster frame, just the bottom of it, and he had a pile of steel on it. I asked him what he was doing with it. He said he didn't want it, so he gave it to me free of charge. I took it, brought it back to the shop, and that's what I built my other welding table on, was this frame. So for 2023-2024, I decided I'm going to take the old table apart, keep the bottom caster frame because it's nice and thick, and I'm going to build up on it. So I started by squaring up some 3" by 3" 1/4" thick tubing, and I went over to my job site, which is the builder that I work at, and I grabbed myself some lintel steel that they were scrapping. This is really heavy duty. We're talking about 3/8 thick material. I basically rested it on top, I squared it all up, and I welded it from the underside right up in here. So it's nice and straight. Then what I did was I went out and I bought myself some 1/8 thick tubing. Actually, sorry, didn't buy it. I had it. I was going to go thicker, but I decided that that's what I had, that's what I would use. Trying to save money here with the economy and everything. Don't want to go out and buy all this material if it's unnecessary. So what I started with was this tube, the one over there, and the one at the end. I had 5 of them total, but I realized that the spacing in between would have been too much. So I had a scrap gate that I made in the back of my shop, a parking lot barrier gate, and I decided I was going to dissect it, cut it apart, and use some of the tubing to reinforce the middle. So what we're at now is, we're at the point where I welded everything in, it's nice and flat. I didn't want to over weld it and weld it all the way across because I don't want too much steel warpage. I want to keep it nice and straight. And as you can see, if I lower the camera, that thing is beautiful and straight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pick up a plate of steel. I'm debating whether I'm going to do 5'16" or 1/4" thick. I don't want it too heavy as I'm going to be wheeling this table around the shop depending on what projects I'm working on. Sometimes I'm at the front of the shop using my heavy Miller machine, and sometimes I'm in the back using my 256 Lincoln. All these machines I absolutely love. I couldn't recommend either one anymore. This Miller here, this Shopmaster, it is a blessing. I'm having a little bit of problems right now where the breaker keeps popping on me because it's a 30 amp and the machine wants more power. So I've got an electrician coming. He's going to beef up the power for me. And this sucker, we're going to be doing some TIG welding soon. It does also do stick, flux, and MIG. So if you guys ever see one of these machines and you could scoop one up, I got this for $1,000. You should grab it. It's worth every penny. So back to the welding table. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab a piece of plate now, 5x10. I'm going to bring it back to the shop, and I'm going to rest it on top and start figuring out how I'm going to go ahead and tack it all up. I don't want to do too much welding, just tack so it doesn't warp on me. Okay everyone, so we're back at the shop and I just picked up the metal. Here it is on the back of my truck. We're about to back this bad boy in. I don't know how I'm going to get this thing off my truck. I'm by myself, so let's see how we're going to do this. back in a little more. What I'm thinking of doing is using this crane to pick this up, and I have a come along crane as well, or a chain fall, sorry. Okay, so we're here. Start taking the straps off. Anyone ever put a chain in a knot? I don't even know if this is going to work. Let's see what happens. It's working. Sketchy, but it's working. Okay, I got it up in the air. I don't want to mess with it. Let me open the shop door and move this truck out of the way. Let's get this wood out of here. Never put your hands underneath anything like this. Okay, I ain't touching this. It's leaning towards that side, so I ain't going anywhere on that side. I'm going to try to just start by putting my gloves on. And I'm just going to try to lift this end and guide the table underneath it. I don't think that's going to work. I think I'm going to have to go from this side. Okay, table's coming. I don't know if you guys could see. Let me turn the camera around a little bit for you. Sorry, the iron worker's in the way. So, let's get these gloves out of here, son of a gun. I'm always worried it's just going to come down and go whack. So, never put your hands under any heavy equipment, ever. Good Lord. Well, I'll be damned. Well, guys, there you have it. Table is on. Now it's just a matter of adjusting it, pushing it over to the other end. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to adjust it. Just going to finagle it here with the wood block on the floor, get it in place, and geez, that's a humongous table. Anyways, that's it. So let's go ahead and move it into place. Okay, so I moved it into place. I don't know what happened. I was trying to record and the clip just cut out when I had my my phone down, but I got a ratchet strap. I attached it to the plate. I attached it to the tube frame, and I just pushed the table in wherever I needed to, back and forth, until I got it pretty much as good as I needed to be. So I didn't realize that when I was making this table that I was going to have such an overhang. So I'm going to have to figure something out over here, because I do like the 5x10. But this table was not exactly 10 feet. It's just over 9 feet. So this is the reason why we have such an overhang. So yeah, we're going to have to figure this one out. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's just a little over 8 feet, not 9 feet. So probably going to have to reinforce this, do something here to keep this from buckling in the future. So guys, this is pretty much what the table looks like. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just weld these tubings to it, give it a couple stitches on the inside. But overall, this is the finished product. I might cap off the sides of it just so you don't have that tubing. Or I might actually leave that tubing open and I could put some scrap pieces in there as long as they're not getting stuck. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is what it looks like, guys. Okay, so far as I'm prepping the table, putting all my clamps on, I put an old vise. Actually, that used to be my father's. God rest his soul. He recently passed away. So the legacy continues through his son. But yeah, that used to be my dad's. So we'll weigh it down with his old vise. And as you can see, I put a level on it. Now, I didn't put the level on it to see if it was level, because if my floor was a little off, the level would be a little off. But the reason why I put the level on it is so I could see where the plate is sagging a little bit. As you can see, this is where there's nothing supporting underneath it, and you can see it's sagging. But if you look at the rest of the table, it's not sagging. So I'm going to figure something out, but I'm going to take my time because I want to do it right to prop this end up, because I like having the extra meat of the table. Essentially, it was only supposed to be about this big, and I was going to cut it off. But why do that when I have all this extra table that I can utilize? So before I weld it, I got to figure out how I'm going to brace this thing up a little bit and get it nice and plumb with the level. Okay, so I used a steel piece of lintel angle iron. I clamped it down to the tubing because the angle iron, this thing is solid. It's not going to bend. So I clamped it on the end to raise the plate. Once I squeezed it to the frame of the table, I turned this one on the frame, which clamped the plate down. And then by the angle iron being straight, I clamped this one down and it actually raised the plate up. So far it worked. The level seems pretty good. It's pretty square. I feel like, I know I'm being a little bit too much now, but I still feel like there's a little bit of a gap here. I would like to bring it up just a touch more. So I'm going to try to put something else here in the middle to lift it up because I think that's where it might have a little bit of a sag. Okay, so I think I'm going to take some 2x2 tubing and I'm going to butt it up against the table like that and make a frame. It's going to be sucky because I got to weld from underneath. I don't want to get burned, but I mean, it should work. So let's go ahead and get that started. Okay, so I've got it all welded up. We put stitches all the way down and all the way on this side coming back this way. The only thing left I have is just to frame this up over here in the front, just to lift up the plate a bit, not that much. And this table is ready to rock and roll. So here it is, guys, finished product. So this is the table, all done. I've done my first project on it. This is a 12-foot by 36-inch railing. Look how straight those ends are. Nice and straight. All the knuckles nice and straight. And this is the reason why I made a table that's true and square. Because if you want your projects to turn out number one and you want to be on top of your welding career, you got to provide number one service. We've reached the end of the video. The table is pretty much done, minus the reinforcement I'm going to be doing on the sides. It's nice and level. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about this table, why I made it the way I made it, or you have any other questions, hit me up in the comments. Guys, once again, thank you for watching my video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day.